Morning and welcome to another refreshing edition of our live morning program today on ACNN. Thank you for joining us wherever you are watching from. It is a pleasure to have your company. I am Promise Injoku Adiwe, and over the next hours, we shall bring you insightful conversations, inspiring reflections, and a comprehensive review of today's major newspaper headlines. As always, viewers, our goal is not just to inform you, but to educate, to inspire thoughtful conversations, and of course, encourage informed civic participation. I love it when I see some quotes. Benjamin Franklin once said, an investment in knowledge pays the best interests. And of course, our very own Nelson Mandela reminds us that education is the most powerful weapon with which you can use to change the world. This is exactly what this program seeks to achieve every morning. So when you see us here every day, we're here to change the world. Here is what we have lined up for you today, viewers. First, we have a review of the major stories making the front pages of today's newspapers. Then we have our discussion segment. We also have, apart from our discussion segments, we have the weather forecast, the Bible reading for the day, and of course, the word for today. So feel free to call in and join the conversation. The number to call in is showing on your screen. And if you can't call in, please send us your comments via any of our social media platforms also showing on your screen. It's always a delight to hear from you. Viewers, before I go to the newspaper segment, join me as I welcome on this show the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the person of Prince Kennedy Ahanotu. It's good to have you come join us,
Good
Prince
to have you,
Ahanotu.
my sister Libe. Thank you. Good morning, Nigerians.
He is the 2027 presidential candidate of the Labour Party. Of course, during our discussion segment, we'll have a more robust conversation with him. But for now, let's look at what the front headlines of the newspapers we have this morning. Stay with us. Welcome back, viewers. Quickly, let's take a look at the Punch newspaper this morning. Above the masthead, there we have 5 month crude exports fetch Nigeria 20 trillion naira, and that story is on page 21 of the Punch newspaper, and on page 8. 1.34 million Nigerians denied UK visas in 21 years. Can you imagine the number? And on page 9, Operation Kosai. Police hunt kidnappers in Lagos, Ogun forests. Are we sure that's only where they are? They're not living in our houses, in our estates, and all of that. Anyway, still on page 9 on state police. NAS sends bill to 36 states assemblies. And the big story there, Obi Kwankwaso lead NDC's battle against the registration. You find that story on page 2. And we have some kickers there. Obi Kwankwaso Dixon in marathon meetings as NDC files appeal today. Another kicker there says opposition party insists judgment won't stand, vows 2027 ballot battle. And the last kicker there, lawyers push speedy appeal as court ruling threatens NDC's bid. Okay, we We have some stories below the masthead there, below the big story there. Chaos as flooding shuts Lagos Airport temporary terminal. And that story is on page 21 of the Punch newspaper. Another there we have Kogi teacher dies after alleged assault for disciplining pupil. That story is on page 5 of the Punch newspaper. Quickly, let's look at the Guardian. The Guardian newspaper have all the stories there. Senate defense state police bill as child of necessity. That story is on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. And still on page 3, INEC releases access codes today as APC rejects fake list of candidates. And on page 5, NIMET workers to ground evasion activities over unpaid dues. And the big story there you find on page 6, 58 insurers raise against time to meet recapitalization deadline. Um, then a very, 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 very touchy one there that I sincerely pray it doesn't happen is on page 2. Doctors give federal government fresh 4-week deadline over unpaid allowances. Please, government, pay these people. We don't want the doctors going on strike. And on page 2 again, Abuad Multi-System Hospital commences robotics surgery. And on page 5, probe alleged diversion of 6.3 billion naira constituency funds, Serap tells NAS. And a very troubling one, very, very troubling on page 2. All men, please pay attention. Only 25% of men have healthy sperm, experts say. Are you among the 25 or are you among the 75 who don't have the healthy ones? Please go to the hospital and get checked. Okay. Akume warns against reprisal as police arrest 10 over Macban chairman's killing. And that story is on page 9. I think I have my reservations towards the story, but then we'll talk about them later. And on page 6, Dixon Kwankwaso meets as NDC alleges INEC denied portal access. Okay, the last story I'm going to take there is Providence Unity Bank to commence operations as one entity. You find that story on page 23 of the Guardian newspaper. And then the last we're going to be looking at is the Vanguard. The Vanguard newspaper. Peter Obi can't beat Tinubu in Lagos again. This is coming from the presidency, and the story is on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper. And on page 6, motorist commuters stranded as flood submerges Lagos roads. And on page 28, FCCPC to marketers cut petrol prices or face sanctions. Please, can they be sanctioned immediately? We want petrol prices to drop. You want to know more on that? Please go to page 28 of the Vanguard newspaper and read more on that. And then we have the lead story there. FG orders struggling to meet obligations despite rise in revenue. And you find that story on page 11 of the Vanguard newspaper. Okay, 2027 timeline. INEC parties disagree over access codes for candidates. That story is on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. And on page 28, 4 bag 95-year jail terms for rape in Niger. That's a good one. And on page 9, telecom subscribers rise to 188 million as broadband penetration hits 55.67%. And on industrial dispute, I read it earlier. NAD gives federal government 4 weeks to avert nationwide strike. That's the reason, page 9. And the last story we'll be taking on the Vanguard. Serap gives Akpabio Abbas 1 week to probe 6.3 billion naira constituency funds or face legal action. And of course, we have the comic section where we have the Mr. and Mrs. I always encourage you to, go read that and, liven up. You can't kill yourself. You just can't. So, viewers, these are the headlines we have for you this morning. We'll encourage you to make sure you go get yourself these newspapers, these dailies. can get the prints, please go through them. They are all over there on the social, um, on the media space. Read and get yourself abreast with the happenings in the country. It will do you a lot of good. So let me come to you, Prince Hanotu. Um, Government, federal government, others struggling to meet obligations despite rise in revenue. Revenue have risen. Of course, they have a lot of money. In one of the papers, we read how crude, you know, uh, um, it's bringing in more money, has brought in more money. But then, why do you think they still struggle? Why do they still struggle to meet their obligations? What exactly do you see playing?
I think it's very, very obvious when a nation continues to subject itself to high level of borrowing. No matter how much you make, you're only working to service your loans and pay back loans. It must is not going to reflect so much on the people because you are not the income, their purported income increase in revenues does not actually reflect on the people because the budget each year, for example, 2024 and 2025 appropriation have not yet been finished. It's still running. Contractors are not paid. And you are coming to on the front page of the newspaper and you are telling us that you are making so much money, that you've got money from oil subsidy revenues and all those stuff. But how is it translating to the practical daily living of Nigerians? So you can see the evidence on the daily living of Nigeria in terms of social safety provisions. You can see it. Transportation is still on the increase. Our trains working? No. Is our bus transport system is it working? No. Many people are even afraid to go through the road now. And again, if you come to the aviation industry, the price are on the increase. So it's not even affordable. So when you say that your government is making so much revenue and you cannot see it be transcribed practically on the livelihood of Nigerians, I think it's a mirage. So what is happening is just people are trying to use semantics to make other people feel that they are working very hard. But it's very simple. If the daily take home of Nigerian workers are not reflecting on their livelihood, government have not done anything, as far as I know, and as much as I can say, in my own opinion.
Well, your opinion is very valid, especially being, in the political space. Well, then, viewers, I want to encourage you to call in and let's hear what you have to say. The number to call in is showing on your screen. And if you can't call in, please send us your comments via any of our social media platforms also showing on your screen. And then before we go into our main discussion segment, join me as I welcome our in-house analyst all the way from Kaduna State, Somtochukwu Okizu. It's good to have you join me on today's program. How is Kaduna this morning?
Thank you so much for this cardinalized point. So, and it's lovely to be with you this morning.
You're actually looking good. I love the face cap. I hope you've eaten a little bit of the northern food over
So
there.
washing cover.
Tuwon shikafa,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah. Prince
know.
Kennedy said tuwon shikafa.
I don't know what that is, but I'm trying. I'm adapting.
And yet you don't know what tuwon shikafa is. You need to be proved. Well, then let's take a breather. When we come back, we'll get into the main discussion segment. Please stay with us. Politics is once again taking center stage as conversations surrounding the 2027 general elections continue to gather momentum across the country. Nigerians are watching closely as opposition parties rethink their strategies. Alliances are being discussed, and debates, of course, continue over the future of governance and democratic accountability. So today, Like I said earlier, we're actually privileged to have with us one of Nigeria's leading political figures, the Labour Party presidential candidate for 2027, who joins us to share his thoughts on the political climate preparations for 2027. And of course, to talk more on the direction the opposition believes the country should take. So, once again, Prince Ahanotu, it's good to have you
Thank
uh,
you. The
um,
pleasure is mine always.
join us. So, I love, being very practical with my questions. So, I hope you're ready for me.
Go ahead.
So let's come to Labour Party. First, I want to ask, what was your motivation all of a sudden, from being at the background, from being one of yes, we know you've always been at the front rows of the Labour Party, and then all of a sudden we saw you carrying the flag and being, declared the 2027 presidential candidate. What motivated you to take that step?
Well, thank you so much. I've always said that it's only in this part of the world that when a young man dreams, he's termed mad. Most of our counterparts that are born in the US, UK, from age 16, some of them that have interest in leadership will start visiting the government house, start visiting the White House, and start saying that they want to be the president of their country. And nobody sees them as mad. But in Nigeria, the moment you express interest to be one of the leaders, even though on a background, we've always been told that we are the future leaders of our nation. But you go 40 years, no closeness to power. Many people go as far as 50 years, no closeness to power. So that means when they say life begins at 40, if you're a fool at 40, you're a fool forever. That means in Nigeria today, it's actually 60 or 70. And when you get to 70 and you've not done anything tangible, that is when people can begin to assess you. My motivation is very simple. I've been in this country, I've been around, even though all my life it's been leadership, 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 from the secondary school to the university. After university, everywhere I found myself, it has been leadership. I can say that I'm born into leadership. And even today, I'm from a family that even after the death, if my father, after leaving and exit this world, I have leadership role already waiting for me as a prince. And that's the basic standard. But the motivation is looking at Nigeria and looking at the kind of leadership that we've been experiencing over the years. And comparatively, looking at other nations of the world that are making progress, how they have transited from one leadership system to another, and how their mentorship system have produced leaders that are younger, productive, and more effective. And also looking at the environment where I come from, I think those that were our independent fighters, the champions of Nigerian independence, were between the ages of 25 to 45. And that was the peak of their performance before they exited the space of leadership. So I felt that after the passage of Not Too Young to Run in 2016, and that was when I attempted and joined partisan politics. And for the past 10 years, I've really been deeply involved in national politics. And I've grown on the ranks, especially in the Labour Party. So I felt I am qualified. Being a master degree holder, development economist, and someone that I've well traveled. I've traveled around the world. I've seen development across the world. And I've also traveled where I'm supposed to represent Nigerian youth, only to get there at 38. And I'm seeing people coming from other nations that are 20, 24, 25, coming to represent their own nation's youth. And I felt that I can't be answering youth leader when my counterparts that are 20 years around the world are the same youth leader. I have a president in the African continent that is 41 today, my age mate. And there was a president in France that is also 39 when he became the president. So I feel I have uh, great deal of things to offer my country in terms of service to my nation. And that is why.
Okay, that's a good one. It's a very good motivation. Not too young to run. But I have two questions. First, we've seen another fraction of the Labour Party announcing Chibuzo Okereke as a presidential candidate from the same Labour Party where you are. Now, that brings me to the question: the damages, the conflict in Labour Party, the internal crisis that is going on. How, with all of that, how do you expect Nigerians to trust your credibility? How do you expect Nigerians to, follow you?
My happiness is that whatever we do has an immediate repercussion, have and future repercussions. When I joined Labour Party in 2016, Chibuzo Okereke was nowhere to be found as a politician. Yes, he was also a student union leader like myself, a promising young man like myself too. I have nothing personal against him. But you see, to be a beneficiary of an institutional decay or destruction means a lot to reflect your personality and your integrity as a man. In 2023, I recall that this same Chibuzo Okereke was all over me, asking me to help him pitch a tent and find a space in Labour Party. And then, boom, the crisis in Labour Party brought him. And that is to show Nigerians the level of impunity that many people that are seeking to take leadership position, brings on board. In 2022, when Dr. Ale Soti came, the Labour Party accepted him with full hands, believing that he can win an election and we will use him to consolidate and build the party. But it's unfortunate that today, that decision we took seems to be a wrong decision, because he's now the same person that has been used to destroy and destabilize the Labour Party. I'm sorry to say, even though that is how it is as it stands today. The factionalization of the Labour Party was perpetuated by His Excellency Dr. Ale Soti and our former presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, who went to Umuahia to constitute a parallel leadership for the party. Why? Because they said, INEC said that our tenure have expired, that the tenure of the current leadership have expired. Is that enough for you to factionalize the party? You should have come in-house, ask questions, ask INEC questions, get a written document from INEC, get a proof from INEC before you start doing that. So the presidential candidate that emerged from Nenadi, as at 2022, was never a member of Labour Party. As at 2023, was never a member of Labour Party. It was in 2024 when he was procured to come and perpetuate evil in Labour Party that he began to flaunt membership card of Labour Party. I know Nenadi Usman as someone that came as a support group. He joined Labour Party with Peter Obi from PDP. There were those that supported His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi. So after then, many of them now felt they are more qualified than some of us that have been in the party for past 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. So the Nigerians knows where the party leadership is. Initially, they criticized us and said that we are working for the opposition. But I said that in a short while, between now and September, November, we will know who has been working for the APC in Labour Party. Because Chibuzo Okereke is a very close ally to Ale Soti. Ale Soti have never campaigned or spoken anything ill or condemn any policy that is not palatable to Nigerians that has been perpetuated by this government since he became a governor, opposition governor. It's expected that he hold this government accountable. But not that he opposes what is good. There are many things that this government have done that is good. There are many other things they have done that is not good. And as an opposition governor, it's expected that you once in a while, you say this one is not good. This one is not good. This one is not good. That is what makes opposition opposition. You don't accept everything. So, Chibuzo Okereke is a very close ally to Ale Soti, as much as I know. I know Chibuzo Okereke very well. In fact, we did NYSC in Abuja at the same time. We did MDG. We served under the same CDS group in Abuja. So he's somebody I served under Nzaka Chukwumakwo with the same Chibuzo Okereke. I know his character. I know his personality. But what I know is that his emergence as a presidential candidate under Nenade Usman. He's just there as a stooge. He's not there expressing himself. He cannot grant press conference on his own.
Okay,
I'm very sure of that.
Okay. That is quite a whole lot you've said. I'm sure Somto has some questions for you, but Somto, before I let you ask your questions, I want to ask right now you we have two people flying the flag of the Labour Party. But then let's go by what the court is saying. So far, right now, the court recognizes this same Chibuzo Okereke, pending on when the Supreme Court gives their judgment. What do you foresee happening if the Supreme Court sides with what the other courts have, upheld? What would be your take? Would you accept it in good faith, or are you going to? Of course, you can't fight the Supreme Court.
Yes, last year 2025, Supreme Court ruled that that political leadership, party leadership is an internal affair of political parties. So it was this same group that went back and started relitigating the matter. They went back at the Federal High Court and started the matter all over again. So when the Supreme Court rules, we will look at the judgment. I'm sure that Supreme Court cannot rule against themselves. The only expectation is that Supreme Court will also declare that party leadership, that no court in Nigeria has the power and reason to declare who is the national chairman or national leader of the party. It's only the party that has that power. So let me see if the Supreme Court will now rule that what the High Court said is correct. Having said before that the High Court was wrong to even making reference to Abure as the national chairman, and that the Appeal Court has no reason giving clue that party leadership is in the hand of Abure.
Okay.
This argument have happened before, and the Supreme Court ruled against it. Let me now see when Supreme Court will rule eventually. If the Supreme Court will now say that what they ruled before is wrong, that this one is now the correct one, that they are accepting the decision of the lower court. Okay. So at that point, we'll now make a decision on how to move.
That's really nice. Now, the fact that it is in the court, we don't want to preempt the court, and then we want to trust the judicial system to pass a fair and just conclusion on this matter. So, go over to you. I'm sure you itching to ask him some questions.
Thank you so much. That's an opportunity. Please, I have noted, congratulations. It's quite surprising that you're now running for the Labour Party presidential office. Thank you and congratulations for that. I would want to critique you a bit, and I hope you'll be able to give me some answers. First off, my in-house anchor over there has asked some questions in regards to the eligibility of your candidacy, considering the fact that there are two factions in the house, and he just gave us an explanation of you guys waiting for the court judgment. So now let me ask you, when the then presidential candidate Peter B was running in your party, oftentimes we spoke about his name, his fame, and what he brought to your party. And oftentimes you accepted that, and for some other time it is credited it that Labour Party has been standing for a long while before people came on board. And so, in as much as you try not to play down on his fame, you also did not make it look as if he had something substantial to give. So now I want to ask.
Okay, Somto, hold on. Somto, hold on before you ask your question. We have another caller. Sorry.
He's calling from Edo State.
Okay.
I used to be a very good member of the Labour Party. But why is it that all of us want to contest elective position instead of building a party? Because if we continue to do that, even the older men who are in Labour Party, they will be discouraged. I think that's one of the reasons why we have rationalization in Labour Party. Everybody, there are people who are born, you cannot become a president. Even they run from one party to another party. They may be leaders building political party to become a structure that people cannot begin to fall in love with. Rather, what we are doing, especially now in Labour Party, nationalization everywhere. I believe that we should go back to the drawing board and put things in their proper order if we are going to win any election. God bless us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Isaiah. He made a very valid point there. He said instead of everybody running from one party to the other, why not stay together, build together, go back to the drawing board, and see how Labour Party can be better. Well, that's an advice for your party. Somto, let's hear you. Please go ahead with your question.
All right, so as I was saying, considering your name now and the other names of seem not to be as popular as others, considering the likes of considering that we seem not to be popular. So now I want to ask you, what are your strategies to see that your name probably come on board? Because right now, no one is really looking at the side of the Labour Party. So what and what do you really think you have in place to see that the people recognize the Labour Party this time around, seeing the likes of people who are here? And then secondly, what I want to ask you, a lot of people talked about how stingy, that's the word I want to use, the then presidential candidate was, and how he was friendly enough in helping the party do financially. So I also wanted to ask you, how well do you think you're really ready to go with the financial cost of the presidency? What exactly do you have on ground to see that you run your campaign smoothly without probably doing things that will make the people come tomorrow to criticize?
Well, Somto, thank you so much. I didn't get you clearly, but I picked here and there what you are trying to posit. And number one, I've never and I will never discredit the value that Mr. Peter Obi came to Labour Party with. I am a royal prince and I cannot say that he didn't add value. It's just like me saying that my wife did not come to my house with a value because I'm the one that married him. But you cannot say that me also that got married to her didn't come with any value. Both of us came together and we are building a family. So Peter Obi came to Labour Party with his own value. We've also been in Labour Party, building the party, believing that this is a party for the people that can salvage the situation in Nigeria. Only having faith in that institution called Labour Party for the past 10 years is something of credit. Even Peter Obi himself have not spent 10 years in any political party. Even Atiku, those that you mentioned, except the current president, that have consolidated from one political party and built it to a national party that today they are APC. No other, mention the politician in Nigeria that have remained for 10 years, 20 years in one political party. There are a few of them. And that is why you saw Wike fighting the fight he's fighting. Because he has been in the party, somebody who exit, come back, assume presidential candidacy, exit, come back, assume presidential candidacy, even while most of them have been in the party for the past years. No opportunity for them to emerge. So I didn't say that Peter Obi never added value to Labour Party. He added value to Labour Party, and Labour Party also added value to him. Of course, the fame he enjoyed in 2023, I'm doubting if he's going to enjoy it again because Labour Party was built for that movement. And mismanagement of that movement have caused a fundamental damage to what we were pushing for in 2023. That's by the way. Secondly, the question of my strategy and what I intend to do, the finance involved in presidential election. I am fully aware that presidential election does with financing and huge financing for that matter. But I want to cast our mind back to those days where patriotism and leadership works together. It's not about how rich you are in communities, in villages. Communities come together to fund the elections of an individual they believe in. They come together and sponsor students, people that they believe they can go out, become educated, and bring value to the community. So it's no longer about me. I have only brought myself to be the president of Nigeria, and my manifesto is there for anybody to read up and see the difference between what we have today and what I'm coming to do. As a young Nigeria, I don't have any political enemy. I am not coming to governance to begin to fight anybody. I'm rather coming to create a level playing ground for Nigerian entrepreneurs to operate. I'm only coming to say that Nigerian workers must be paid accordingly. I'm only coming to say that security personnel must not be posted outside their state. They will be posted, in fact, in their local government, so that this 10 naira and 50 naira people are collecting on the road will end. See, leadership, governance is not about who is actually there. It's about the political will and your mindset in terms of approach to development. I cannot be a president and watch Nigerian students kidnapped for the past 1 month and have not been released. What will I be doing in my office rather than to join forces with Nigerian police and all the security agencies to trek inside the bush? You see, these are not rocket science. I may not have the money because you've looked at me, probably you've assessed me. I don't have the financial muscle. Remember, it's also government that creates opportunity for people to grow. I've come to where I am all by myself. Since I graduated from my first degree, I've never worked for government. I've been an entrepreneur and I've built my own life, have a family that I'm managing till today. Excuse me. So you cannot say that you judge me based on how much I have in my bank account. You don't judge a man by his skin color, by how much he has in his bank account, but by the content of his character and the content of ideas he has to initiate good governance. Thank you.
Just a follow-up question. Sorry, just a follow-up question to what you have said. I'm tempted to ask, how confident are you in this coming general election of 2010? How confident are you? Because people will be tempted to ask, what public offices have you held in the past that will probably prove your competence? Do you have a track record to say for a fact you would want to rule over 200 million people? What do you have to put?
Somto, I understand your question.
Hold on, sir. And also, secondly, to ask, you keep talking about your manifesto and you talked about your economic policy. So, just in a nutshell, will you also tell us what 3 steps will you probably take to see that you see the economy running again without borrowing or devaluing the naira? Over to you, sir.
Somto, thank you so much. I'm a good Christian and Anglican by birth, and up till now, by marriage, I'm still an Anglican. And I can tell you that I know my Bible very well. In fact, most times, we the young people are afraid to venture into new areas or new places. If you can cast your mind back to the Bible, when a king was to be selected in the house of Eli, it was very straightforward. When the selectors of those kings came, the father brought out retired generals, those that have a good reputation, that they fought wars. They brought former ministers, brought out former governors, brought out all manner of people that have held ministerial positions. What was the kingmaker saying? The kingmaker said, Oga, you've not brought out the person we are looking for. All these people you are bringing with all these experiences are not actually the people we are interested in. There is a young boy in your house that the salvation of this kingdom is bestowed in his hand. And they looked at, the man said, no, I don't have any other person. And he remembered that there's one small boy that they always send to go and look after the sheep in the bush. He said, it's only that one boy that is remaining in my house. I've brought out generals, retired generals, that have powerful CVs, that have brought out governors, former governors, 8 times, 2 times governors, yes. I've brought out MDs of banks. I've brought out, former ministers, former secretary to the government of the federation, former DC economic advisor to the president, and you say you don't want them. Is it that one in the bush that they say, bring that guy, let's see him. And when the guy came, you know what happened? They said, this is actually the person we are looking for. Look, if we want to get Nigeria back on his feet again, we need a virgin. We need young man that have not been tested. We need somebody like Kennedy that have never been tested. We need a man that have been in the wilderness, in the bush, taking care of animals. We need his ideas to make things work. We don't need people that have godfathers, people that have mentors and followers that they need to satisfy. If I am elected the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, go and ask questions. I am not a man that anybody can push around. the little experiences I've had in areas I've handled. It may not be big enough as a former governor. It may not be big enough as a former minister, but the little space that I've operated, go and make investigation and verify my decision and my wills in terms of execution of authority. And that's by the way, but I've used that to tell you that it's not about the record.
Nigerians want to know. Nigeria
I am telling you that Nigerians. I am telling you that Nigerians have known. It's just that we are denying ourselves the opportunity of electing good leaders. There is no good leader that you will find among these people that have been ruling Nigeria since 1999. And those are the people that you are saying they are former governor, former this and former that.
Okay, so
if you need a difference, you must bring somebody that is coming from a different background and test him. And thirdly, the question you asked about my approach to changing the economy of Nigeria. As an agri-economist, I know that agriculture has been a mainstay of our economy before. I am coming with the idea to, make agriculture the mainstay of our economy again. Yes, the oil boom have brought Nigeria to level of international play, but we can choose to feed ourselves, satisfy ourselves, enrich ourselves before we talk of that international acceptability. That is what I'm coming to do. We are going to look inwards. We are going to look at the things that we produce for ourselves that we can project to the world as a raw material, not just oil. There are many things that Nigerian youth can do, skills. We are going to change our curriculum in universities, that you don't just go to school to read theories. You go to school as you are graduating, you are coming out with hands-on skills that can sustain you for life. You don't need to be looking for government jobs. And the moment you are graduating with these skills, the government will create opportunities that will empower you to establish. Like I told them, we have farmers that are producing every day in Nigeria, but because of post-harvest management, poor post-harvest management, they find it difficult to make profit out of their produce. And this dampens their eagerness to go back to farm. But if government can begin to manufacture or build, harvest management plant across the states, where their harvest can be collected, preserved, and transported to markets across the country, it will encourage the farmers. I have these ideas on how to make our economy stable and strong again and viable. But give me the opportunity. You will see it within the first 2 years of my leadership as Nigerian president. You will see the difference.
Okay, I love the fact you said, give me this opportunity, because when you talked about not too young to run, what came to my mind was Nigerians, we tend to forget so easily. At the same time, we have the media space that keeps reminding us. We once gave the youths in Kogi State once gave a youth the opportunity to run. For the first time, we had a very young governor. And it turned out this same youth who ended up becoming a governor turned out to be worse than these retired generals you've been calling. I don't understand. How do you want Nigerians to believe in your capacity as a youth to rule? If a youth couldn't put his state first, he said he embezzled and embezzled and embezzled, how do you want Nigerians, especially the youth, to believe that when you go to that seat as the number one man, we're not going to have a repeat of such?
It's very simple. Most time when people make reference to the former Kogi State governor, I get worried. It's not a yardstick to measure Nigerian youth.
We know it is not.
There are many Nigerian youths.
That's the patient
There are many Nigerian youths that have done excellently well in positions of power. But let me take you on that. The former governor of Kogi State, if you can remember, came to power through a process of godfatherism. And here am I don't have any godfather. And that is why it seems, I don't seem to be marketable and acceptable, because there is nobody bankrolling me anywhere. There is no godfather that have stood out and said, I want him to be the president of Nigeria. Okay? So if I have somebody like that will bankroll me and put me under debt, I'll be indebted to that person for life. And that's why I'm coming to Nigerian youth, that this is an opportunity for Nigerian youth to change the narrative, because they have been agitating that they need a youthful president. And here am I offering myself. And do you know the worrisome part of it? Most people criticizing and fighting my candidacy are Nigerian youth. The majority of people encouraging me and saying they are proud of what I'm doing. It's not even about winning 2027 election, but the audacity of the hope that I can be the president of Nigeria. People should applaud it. Do you know what it means for a young man like me to wake up one morning and said, I want to be the president of Nigeria, and I spoke it out, and I'm behaving it
in a political space,
like Nigeria, and I'm moving around every day saying it that I want to be a president of Nigeria. I should be applauded. It's not even about winning it in 2027. You see, how many years did it take Abraham Lincoln to project himself? Eventually he became. When Martin Luther King said that I may not be alive, but one day the son of nobody will be a president of America. Eventually, did it not happen? It happened. So there is nothing wrong with believing. There's nothing wrong with saying we can do it. It looks difficult until it's done. So Yaya Bello is not somebody that we can use to judge a Nigerian youth. He's not somebody who can say, there is a current governor of Ebonyi State that is a very young person. He's doing excellently well, even though he came through Godfatherism too, but he chose to be different. He's doing well. I saw him one day on the Abuja Airport. He flies the normal aircraft like every other person going to Enugu State. He flew with the people. He's not keen to this private jet thing. You know, many of them are mad about private jet. They don't want to associate with the citizens. But I've met him like 4 times at the general wing of Nnamdi Azikiwe Airport, Abuja, where he flies with the people. Is he not a governor? Why can't Nigeria? You know, evil flies better than good. And that is why whenever a youth comes, emerges, the only reference the Nigerian youth will remember is how one governor in Kogi State mismanaged and misappropriated resources. They will not remember there are many other good youths that are also doing well and have done well. I'm among those few youths that will do better in governance.
Okay, Nigerian youths out there, feel free to call in. The number to call in is showing on your screen. And if you can't call in, please send us your comments. We want to read them. If you have questions for Prince Ahanotu, please go ahead and send them, or you can call to ask your questions. Let's look at gagging of the oppositions by this present administration. It's been alleged by a lot of oppositions that the moment you come out to criticize the APC government, you are being gagged. NDC is facing deregistration, a whole lot of other political parties, except for when the court came out to, rule. What do you see playing out? How can oppositions come together to say, no, this must stop? That is one. Then I also want to ask, is it, do you see us having a one-party system in Nigeria? Will it be beneficial to our democracy?
I pray it does not happen, that we get to a point of having one-party system in Nigeria. But I can tell you this. I use Labour Party, for example. When people say that it's opposition, it's APC that destroy Labour Party, I tell them it's a lie. And I always like using a basic example. I told them one day, I said, as a man, I have my wife, I have my children that God have blessed me with. And the Bible said that he that cannot provide for his family is worse than if he do. And I come back home every day, I don't give my wife attention, I don't give them food to eat, I don't do anything for them, and they look tattered. And one day, somebody in my neighborhood begin to support my wife, begin to give my wife something that I have not given to her. Not that I try to make my wife understand that the situation is wonderful. Please manage this. Please come, my wife, I don't have. No, but I ignore her. I just don't want to do what I'm supposed to do to her. And eventually one day I'm coming back and I now saw my wife being held by that same man that was supporting her. Or I saw my wife's legs on the laps of the man. Who should I blame? Should I blame my wife or I should blame myself?
Yourself.
I should blame myself. So bring this to a political space. For example, in 2023, after our presidential election, it's expected that we go in-house and do kind of retreating and talk to ourselves. Which area did we do good and which area did we do bad? Okay, which wing were we lacking on in that first half? That is why they have first half and second half in every match. World Cup is going on. There is first half, there is second half. There's always opportunity for you to review your activities. After that review, you now look at the area of improvement, and everybody will notice and agree that yes, this wing is actually leaking. Let's do something and empower this wing so that it will play better. Opposition didn't do it. Labour Party didn't do it. What we had is that some people felt that the current NWC members are not qualified to be in the NWC because the party is now big. You know, in Nigeria, the FCT minister said there are many people are mama put, mama food don't done. You know, pepper soup don't done politicians. They have never seen Labour Party all these years. But the moment Labour Party boomed, they now came with their war chest. They are now deserving to be the national chairman, national leader, national anything of Labour Party. That created crisis. Because, you know, in Nigeria, you may like it or not, there is no job. So people try to protect the little space where they operate from. You know, so coming to tell somebody you need to relinquish your position without a tangible reason, he will see it as a witch hunting, that you want to chase him away. But if you had come and say, based on this, based on that, please, we want you to be substituted, they will see it that they are still part of the team, but they have to be substituted for another person to play second half. They will know that this is one family. But the moment you come and term them criminals, bad people, you are no longer qualified to be in this house. Go. They will fight a fight of survival. That was what happened to Labour Party. And the moment you start fighting a fight of survival, there must be somebody somewhere. You know, a madman has relatives. Oh. Until you touch a madman, that is when you understand that he has relatives. Somebody outside, that is APC, in quote now, can leverage on that opportunity which you created to now come into your house. If I come and tell somebody, my wife does this, my wife does that, and my wife goes and tells somebody, my husband does this, the day that woman will come to harmonize our interests, maybe that day I will even fall in love with that woman that is coming to reconcile me and my wife will be outside. That is what happened to Labour Party. In ADC, what happened? Nafiu Balagombe was the national deputy chairman. Eventually, he was promised that you are going to be the national vice chairman. In the Northeast, they agreed. They had that agreement. They now went to Northeast. The former secretary to the federal government of the federation, Lawal, said, no, how can this small boy be the leader of a zone that produces former vice president of the country, former secretary of the federal government? How can this small boy be our leader in Northeast? Say, my friend, calm down. When we win, we'll give you appointment. The guy said, no, that the agreement must be kept. The agreement was that I have left my position here. I will be the national vice chairman. They say he can't do anything. He doesn't have anybody. He doesn't know anybody. He's not a former governor. He's not a former minister. Leave him. Nobody will hear his voice. He went out and people heard his voice. If at that point, APC now grabbed him and say, go to court, we'll sponsor you. Do you blame Nafiu Bala? Do you blame who? You blame the leaders of ADC that have failed to keep to an agreement. So the leaders of Labour Party that have never discussed leadership transition with the NWC, they are the ones to blame. So in as much as I know that APC now takes advantage to lobby, if you are in government, if I win an election, two things I will do. I will work for the people to see, then I will do anything that will make sure my opponent doesn't take my position. It's normal.
Okay.
So if you're a current president, you just keep quiet and allow this is chess. Whatever you can do to beat your opponent, you do it. And of course, that's the truth.
Okay, so you don't see anything wrong with what the APC is doing right now. It is the rat in the house who told the mouse outside
that there is fish.
Okay, I know our time is fast spent. Yes. So I'm going to give you room to ask one more question, but before you do that, let me talk about the reaction of the NDC. We were speaking to one of our sister stations yesterday. Please let's take a look at this video. When we come back, we'll talk.
to appeal and go to the Court of Appeal to say we are an interested party. And then they will now show their interest. Okay? They bypass that because they know they can't avoid, they can't go through that hurdle in the Court of Appeal. And even satisfy the judge that they have interest. And in any case, if what was concerned was fair hearing, why did he go into the substantive issue of the judgment that he had delivered, over which is functus official? Okay? Now let me tell you this. That judgment was well written. This party, this so-called association, never applied to be registered as a party at the time we did. So there was no conflict. And we are not talking about proprietary of symbols, and it's not a registered trademark issue as to who applied and who is registered. Even now,
there's those who will say this means peace more than national.
Sorry?
There are those who argue that maybe peace movement has a case actually, because in a general and global concept that this means these two fingers, which is the symbol of the party, means
what I'm explaining to you. This is victory sign. And political icons all over the world, not only in Nigeria, have used it. Mahatma Gandhi used it. Okay? Nelson Mandela used it. So many great political figures have used it. Even in Nigeria, Chief of Baphomet and our stage use it. Malam Aminu Kano used it. As a matter of fact, in the NEPU, the 50s, 40s, and 50s, this was their sign, registered. And it Nasara, victory, in the north, in Hausa. So nobody can claim ownership of this sign.
a peace sign.
A peace sign, or whatever you say it is. Even if they were functioning. And let me tell you this, by the Electoral Act, and INEC knows all of this. We have a professor of law and a senior advocate. So that's why I'm concerned that political players, for fear of going through elections and competitions, they are destroying the judiciary, putting the judiciary in a very bad light, and putting INEC also in a very bad light. Look, even if you are a registered political party by the electoral law, and you are deregistered and you are not operating for 5 years, another party, another association can take that symbol. It's there in the Electoral Act. So, even if, assuming without conceding that they were a proper political association with officers, even if they applied and they are acting, once from 2015 they have not been operational, they have no rights.
Let me quickly ask.
They have no rights.
Come back, viewers. We just watched that clip for one of our sister stations. What's the sign to you? What does it mean to you? What have you known it for? So let me get your take briefly on what we just watched before Sobto ask you his question, and that will wrap it.
My sister, it's unfortunate, but we watch these things unveil on daily basis. When we could not condemn an injustice when it was done to another person, eventually it will get to everybody. So when this thing started triggering, that people saw very uncomfortable court rulings, and nobody spoke up, nobody condemned them, and they were continuously coming out. Look at a notorious judge. There is one judge that is known as a notorious judge in Nigeria today. He gives judgment at any way he wants without considering even the higher court decisions. So this judgment against NDC, for me, is unfortunate. But they should expect it. They should have expected this, having been registered through a court order. When you are registered, a process that's supposed to be seamless, that nobody is supposed to push you to be registered. You went to court, and court gave an order. You were registered through court order, and you have been removed through court order. So, you see that
it should have expected
it should have been expected. I wrote an article on this, but people condemned me. I said, this is a gunpowder, that this is going to backfire someday. It's not up to 4 months that I wrote that article. People responded to me and attacked me. Today, it's a reality. And whether you like it or not, They are not talking of phone shoots or something, speaking grammar and all those things. Why did you have to go to court to register something that is supposed to ordinarily go through administrative process? So now that administrative process, they are now back to square one. And no court. Before you say APC, now there is opportunity. If APC comes in now, he says, you created the opportunity for APC to now leverage.
Okay. I don't actually like talking about cases that are already in court. So as the day goes by, as the drama keep unfolding, we'll keep bringing you updates on what's happening between the NDC and the courts, and we'll definitely get to the bottom of it as time goes on. So are you there? Let me give you room for your last question.
Thank you so much. Thank you too for the time. I want to ask you three questions in one. And this question is on the premise that politics is still about you and your candidacy. Politics is actually not being played on emotions. I know when we asked you questions, you said, let's give you a try, let's give you a try, and say, well, I strongly believe that that is not enough to want to convince Nigerians to give you the vote. Okay, for example, that I have one vote. It's left for me to decide if I want to give you that vote or to another person. I also have some people that I can.
Somto, can you speak up? Can you speak up a little? We can't hear you clearly. Can you speak up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, better now.
Okay. I said I have one, and it's left for you to convince me if you are worthy of it or another person. And I also have people that if I rightly talk to, they can also choose to give whoever I plead for their votes. So now I want to ask you these three questions. When the current administration came on, they said no to subsidy. If peradventure, God willing, will become the president, first things first, will you retain subsidy or will you take it out, considering the fact that it's one of the major factors that is causing hardship right now in the country? Will you retain subsidy or would you take out subsidy? Secondly, what would you do as the president to reduce the dependence on Nigeria on only crude oil? What will you do to reduce the dependence of Nigeria on crude oil? And lastly, on this issue of state police, what is your take on it? Are you a yes to state policing or a no? If you are a yes to state policing, tell us why. And what factors will you put to safeguard it? And if you are a no to state policing, also tell us why. I believe for you to want to run as the president, you've probably sat down and thought critically on what is facing us. So I believe you should have certain answers to this question that even convince me to be able to give you my vote and to convince others around me to give you their votes. It all starts from now.
Sometimes I know you are doing your work, and I know that if you have your voter's card, you will definitely vote for me. I know you very well.
Okay. So can you make your responses a bit brief?
Yeah. Number one, I will remove oil subsidy again and again and again. And the strategy is this: I will remove it, but I will make sure I push out social safety measures that will cushion the effect on citizens. We lack many social infrastructure here in Nigeria. I can't remove oil subsidy and say there will not be free transport system, especially on the straight line roads in every city. There will be free transport services on every straight line road. What do I mean by straight line road? For example, from the Federal Secretariat all the way to Giri in Abuja, that is a straight line road. Ordinarily, we are supposed to have a train or a tram or underground that conveys people. I've enjoyed it in Italy. I've enjoyed it in various parts of Europe. That you will land at the airport, you will freely enter a train to another terminal, to another point. You don't pay. So these are areas where government can cushion, because many of these workers that you remove subsidy, everything rises, their salary didn't rise. If they are not removing transportation from their salary, it goes a long way to make sure they have some money in their pocket. So I'm going to remove all this subsidy, but I will push out several social safety measures to cushion the effect on Nigerians so that they won't feel it so much. On the issue of crude oil, I've answered this question before. As an agric economist, I'm going to be more inward Agric used to be the mainstay of our economy in Nigeria. The granite pyramid, the plantain plantations, the coconut, all these are economic crops that we have in Nigeria. But today, we choose to build estates in agric lands instead of using it for production. So some of these things, we are going to review it. We are going to review land ownership and land tenure system and make sure that lands are used for what is supposed to be used. And the third one, I've also answered this some to maybe you weren't listening when I responded about state policing. I will champion, in fact, I will make it an executive order the moment I'm declared the president of Nigeria to bring about state policing. In fact, let me also further say that I will not post any police officer. No police officer will be posted away from his local government. Because I discovered that people are malpatriotic when they are in their area. If you send somebody from Kaduna to Anambra to go and do Mount Road block, nobody knows him. He may decide to be collecting 20 naira. Check from Anambra to Owerri, from Onitsha to Owerri, have up to 30 roadblocks, police checkpoints. And if you go by that road, you will see that most times what they do is that they bring out their hand, and the motorists will bring out their hand, and hand will exchange hand, and motorists will go. There is no proper check. And arms are passing through this route on daily basis. So, but if I have somebody that is Okafo, that is my neighbor, that is from the same local government with me, I know his village, and he is the one mounting roadblock from Onitsha to Owerri, and he comes out and bring out, he want to collect 15 naira from me, I will go and report him to his mother in the village. I report him to his traditional prime minister and say, look at what Okafo is doing on the Onitsha road, call him to order. And they will caution him. But when you bring somebody from Kaduna to come and protect people in Onitsha, if there is too much sound of gun, you know that he has a home in Kaduna, he may run away and run back to Kaduna. But if you keep somebody that is from Onitsha to protect people in Onitsha, he will know that he does not have any other home except that Onitsha. And he will eventually stand and fight crime and make sure that crime ends. Look, there is no crime that are perpetuated in every neighborhood without, just like Ms. Adibe said, that it's the rat inside that will tell the one outside that there is fish inside the house.
Hey.
So if you use
safety measures to see that this state policing is actually not being used by politicians to become personal talks.
Yeah.
What safety measures will you put in place so
Because
that
that's one of the
if you
fears
see
of Nigerians.
my dear brother, is about law and it's about the legislation. Legislation of state policing will give it the necessary strength it needs and it has to be sustainable. If you leave it in the hand of governors and the hand of local government chairmen, they will you will find them in the houses of governors and houses of local government chairmen. Before now, anybody can come and be moving around with police. But today it has reduced. Whether if you have not noticed, you have noticed that police have reduced in the hand of private individuals. Before now, you find majority of our police officers in the houses of private individuals. Not even ministers, so not even governors, but private. You make somebody a special advisor and he's moving around with police. Why? So if there is a legislation that you can't have a two police officer except that you are a minister, government minister. You can't even have a police officer as a local government chairman. You can only have access to maybe one civil defense officer as an orderly, as a local government chairman. You rather empower your local vigilante to be hanging in the bus, buy bus for them, let them be following you, than for you to have a trained police officer following you as a local government chairman. It's about legislation. So I'm going to push a bill in the National Assembly that will make state police sustainable. That's what I will do. And I have the template on how to do that because I have experience in legislative affairs also, having worked there. Okay. So I will push, as a president, I will push for an executive bill that will address whatever fears that people may have about state policing being misused. It's not going to be misused under me because if I don't move with one battalion of police. Why will a state governor move with a battalion of police?
That's I love it, the passion with which you speak. I love the passion with which you lay out what you have planned for Nigerians, and we wish you all the best. But let's talk about vote buying. We've seen the by-elections, in Ekiti State. We saw money exchanging hands. We saw people, you know, being able to vote with other people's voters' cards. I want to know, how do you plan to tackle such come 2027? That is one. This is going to be the last two questions I'll give to you. And then the second one is going to be on the electoral reforms. If you end up becoming the president of this country, what would you champion to be the reforms of our elections, to help our elections be more transparent, more credible
There
for
are,
Nigerians?
my dear sister, there are things that I better not say. But one thing I know is that if I emerge the president of Nigeria, I will give INEC the true independence that they deserve. Having said that, there are so many other things that I would have wanted to do, but if I say it, the cabals may begin to clip my wings.
Okay, we understand.
But that is by the way. But one thing I know of a sure is that I'm going to give INEC true independence. They are going to, nobody will manipulate INEC. All the necessary support there, including me, they can decide my fate. But they will be sustainable. The INEC, that institution will be sustainable under my leadership as president of the Republic of Nigeria. And again, the second question is about
vote buying, 2027, vote buying. People,
you see,
people,
that is why
we've seen INEC server being hacked. We've seen
that
people
is why I said
voting with other people's
that
voters'
is why
cards.
I said I will give INEC the independence they deserve, and there will not be favoritism in that process. But I think what we need in Nigeria is attitudinal reconstruction, re-engineering. We need to change our attitude. I'm sorry. Certain politicians that took over management of national politics caused this problem because they made politics so lucrative. Now you see someone that have never touched billions. The moment he become a governor, he's now a billionaire. He's a God and personal savior of every other person. So if we begin to demonetize politics and make it look not lucrative, you see that vote buying will reduce. But when I ran for House of Representatives in 2019, I saw many things on the field because Nigerian youth met me at the polling. I said, Oga, we know that you are the Labour Party candidate. Give us money. We can't vote you. You bring money. When you win now, nobody will see you. That is why Nigerian youth departed from patriotism. Because truly, when you win, they won't see you. Okay, can you imagine voting a governor that will be shaking you, dancing with you, eating corn with you, drinking pure water with you? The moment you finish, an election is declared and he become a governor, you can't see him. He can't even attend your child education again. He will not pick your call again for that 4 years. House of Rep members, even councillors, even House of Assembly members. So what Nigerians now feel is that, let me collect the one I can collect. When they go there, whatever they like, let them do. But we need attitudinal reconstruction. I don't have money to buy votes, but I'm begging Nigerian youths, let's think about our future. The money they are used to buy votes, and still the money that was supposed to be used to construct roads, to do train stations, to build infrastructure for all of us to use, to build health centers. So let's vote people without collecting money. So that, don't even say, let me collect and vote my conscience. The moment you collect, your conscience has been bought. Whether you vote right or you vote wrongly, don't collect.
Okay.
Vote right and don't collect.
Don't mortgage your conscience as a Nigerian youth. Talking about all of this, mortgaging your conscience and all of that. Let's take a look at this video that's been trending over the weekend. And then when we come back, we'll talk more on it. Please stay with us.
Let us listen to the wife of the president, abeg.
The woman leader for Abia State, APC woman leader for Anambra State, APC woman leader for Bauchi State, APC leader for Osun State, APC leader for Oyo State. Your vehicles will be ready before the end of the week. So I urge all our governors, this is how we want our women give hope. And to start akara business doesn't take a lot of money. To start roasting corn, or somebody even said about grant, you see they're saying that kuli doesn't take much. We didn't give them a loan, we gave it to them as a grant. So we've encouraged Nigerians as best as we could. What is within our hands, I have given, and I keep giving, and those are the things we've done. We're trying to give hope.
Pastor Tinubu, I lose brain cells when I see your videos. I am angry in my spirit when I see your videos. Like, why? Like, do your kids ever sit down and tell you, Mommy, this thing you and Daddy are doing to Nigerians, like, these people are dying, like, these people are perishing. Like, none of your children has ever sat you down to tell you that, Mommy, like, man, can you just take out your security and the convoy, enter your car, and just let them drive you around Lagos in a tinted glass car? Do you understand me, man? People will not be able to see you, but you can see people from the glass. Do you know how many people die in Nigeria per second, per minute? In a country where people see education like as an achievement, where parents even sell lands, sell properties to send their children to school. I have seen families who have worked tirelessly, sleepless nights, sleepless days, horrible mornings, bad afternoons, just to make sure their kids graduate. And what do they get in return? After investing all of their life's work and resources into it, you are advising people's children to sell akara and kuli. Are you not ashamed of yourself, man? Do you not feel like, why do you lack empathy so much? Why do you lack motherly love? Did you not ever hear of the woman Patience Jonathan? Please, learn from her. Learn from her. This was the exact reason why you went to that nurses program at this seminar. They refused to say, now our mama be this, because you do not look like anybody's mother. You are only a mother to your children. As first lady, you are supposed to be a mother to Nigerians as a whole. You people are quick to pick offense, quick to feel insulted, quick to feel bullied, but you do not want to say the right things at the right time. How many Nigerians go to NYSC per year? How many? How many Nigerians go to serve per year? And calculate the ratio of the people who have gone to do NYSC in the past 5 years, and also calculate the ratio of graduates within the past 5 years that are jobless. Nigerian graduates are not doing money point POS businesses, selling recharge card, kiosks, fraud, prostitution, educated people. How out of touch are you with society, with reality, man? It is bad. And the fact that you are a pastor, redeem. A pastor, you are telling people's children to say kuli. They should sell corn. How many years did I waste in secondary school to sell corn? I have not even done uni, and I am this angry. Imagine the anger of people who have done uni. I beg, I don't want to be angry. No. When I make videos talking about you at times, I try to be very calm and very collected, but not this time. Please, let's get into a list, I beg. There's a small list I want to show you people. These are President Tinubu's children. We have Folashade Tinubu Ojo, daughter, 50 years, businesswoman, Iyaloja General of Lagos. Is Iyaloja selling kuli? This Tinubu's daughter, that is Iyaloja, is she selling fried granuts? How better off is she than the rest of Nigerians? That's just one on the list. Jehovah, businesswoman, residence, Lagos. Okay. Second on the list, we have Sheyi Tinubu, son, 40, entrepreneur, investor, and businessman.
For me, this is not funny. While we agree that there is dignity in every legitimate labor, I've been trying to wrap my head around this video that we just watched. The first lady of the nation saying there's nothing wrong. It's a grant they're giving to Nigerians. You can sell akara, kuli kuli, roasted corn, and all of that. Of course, we've seen her aide coming out to defend that and said his mom sent trained him by selling, I think, akara, and so we understand all of that. Of course, we've seen graduates, we've seen great men and women who are trained, by such means. But in this 2026, the same government that say they are giving students loan, you want students to take loan, go to school, study medicine, study engineering, study architecture, study different courses, and then when they are done, they come out and there is no job, and then they come to get a grant of 100,000 to start selling akara, start selling kuli kuli. I don't understand all of that, but before I say anything, let me get your take, Prince Ahanutu, on what we just watched.
You've said it all. I don't want us to be emotional about what is being said. Pulling people out of poverty has so many approaches. Okay. There is one man I admired his approach to pulling people out of poverty, Rochas Okorocha. He has Rochas College.
The Rochas Foundation.
Rochas Foundation, where majority of those students there are on scholarships, majority of them. I think these are approaches on pulling people, helping families, to come out of poverty. Instead of coming on air and saying Akara grant is normal political language, Akara empowerment. Gather people, give them frying pan and give them 100,000 and tell them they are Akara. If after saying that women leader of Anambra, APC women leader.
Yeah, I was about coming to that. They got cars.
Excuse me. Women leader of all these things, that their car will be ready. Why can't you now encourage akara sellers in Nigeria by saying that the best akara seller in Anambra, you are empowering him with a house. The best akara seller in Enugu, in Oyo, in Lagos, that you are empowering him with houses or cars. After empowering, in as much as there's nothing wrong with empowering the women leaders because their work is mobilization, they move around to engage, political engagement. But then, the principle of fairness in terms of reaching out to everybody in the society should make you not to say the woman who is going around talking to Akara seller who will come and vote for you, that you are giving her car to go and be talking to Akara sellers. Then the Akara seller who eventually vote for you on election day, there is no motivation. The motivation is continue selling Akara. Take 100,000 grant. For me, I think in as much as people are overflocking it with emotion, but I think there should be a kind of competitiveness around it, that we are now looking at Anambra. This woman have trained her children with Akara. Let's build a house for her.
Or better still, you give out the grant, encourage people to go into entrepreneurship.
Not mentioning Akara or whatever. Just encourage people to go into entrepreneurship without making reference to a particular
kind of business. All right. With all respect to those who sell all of that, we acknowledge your dignity.
It's hard work.
It's really hard work, and we pray you keep expanding and expanding. So, Somto, are you there? Any comments on this? If you can make it so brief, please. Our time is fast spent. Just any comments, as brief as possible.
I've said it all. I don't have.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
I hope you are convinced to vote me.
That is what I was going to say. What I was going to say. Everyone should go get the PVC. That is their power. Let's probably let's give the chance to someone else that will not outrightly put it to our face that we should go and sell pili, because I don't know how much pili someone is expected to sell to be able to feed a household of 4, 5, or 6 people. So let's not dwell on that. Let's just get our PVC and vote the right government to power.
Thank you
Please, I
very
will not
much.
too much the vote, so let's give it to him.
Thank you very much, Somtojuku. Thank you. Viewers, we have a whole lot packed, but then our time is fast spent, and then we have to quickly work with the time. Right now, viewers, let's take a quick look at a message for the day by Apostle Joshua Salman on developing an attitude of praise and thanksgiving in all situations. Please stay with us.
To me, ladies and gentlemen, thanksgiving is warfare. There are times you thank God for what he has done, but there are times you thank God for what he's doing that is not yet manifest. This is a prayer model to use thanksgiving as a weapon. You are giving thanks, and someone will come to you and say, why are you rejoicing? We see not our signs, and there is no one who can tell us how long, but you can use thanksgiving to shorten the time of the manifestation of prophecy. Are we together now? You give God all kinds of thanks. Thanksgiving is a miracle. Let me tell you the truth. You see thanksgiving like a warrior's armor. You can engage with it even when it does not make sense. No finances, no job, no manifestation of that miracle yet. No man to come to your life to say, I want to marry you. No, no promotion, no increase. Looks like your children are going haywire. Maybe your husband is not born again. You have tried complaining. Why don't you partner with God through thanksgiving? You get up in the morning, you just give thanks. Father, I thank you. I bless you. I've not seen the word come to pass, but I thank you. With my hands lifted up, I thank you. I thank you. I glorify you. I glorify you. Whilst you are thanking God, you know what happens? Doubt and fear. There is nothing that kills offense like thanksgiving. You are offended, you are angry, and you just begin to give God thanks. Oh, I thank you, Jesus. I thank you. Thank him because it's your season where it will come to pass. You must learn to give God thanks. You must learn to give God thanks. I have trained myself to never complain before God. When I get before God, both the things he has done and the things I expect him to do, they come under one list: thanksgiving. Oh, you will finish strong. You will finish strong. The one who holds your hands will not leave you on the way. It looks like you are alone, but you are not alone. You are being carried on the wings of mercy, on the wings of grace. It will look like you will not arrive, but there is a God that sits on the circumference of time, and he manipulates all things to be consistent with his will. Ladies and gentlemen, walk conscious of the fact that you have the power to walk in partnership with the word of God, the Spirit of God, and the principles of dominion to edit what needs to stay in the Spirit forever and what needs to manifest in your life. Say, Genesis 21 and verse 1. I declare that this is the season for its manifestation. Can somebody lift your hands right where you are in 1 minute and just find a reason to say thank you? And if there's nothing to say thank you for, go ahead and thank him for the things that he's about to do. Thank him for tomorrow. I bless you, Lord, you are holy, and forever you are God. We bless you, Lord. We bless you, Lord, you are holy, and forever you are God. Shout hallelujah. Hallelujah. And forever you are God. We shout hallelujah. 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 And forever you are God.
Can never go wrong when you give thanks to God at all times. It's an instruction in all situations, at all times. Give thanks to God. Somto, what do you have to say with regards to the video we just watched? If you can just do that in about 60 seconds.
Yeah, indeed. It's been a touching one. In everything, just as the scripture said, in everything, give thanks. In everything, whether in good, in bad, give thanks. Thank you for us.
All right, thank you very much, Somto. In 30 seconds, or let me say 60 seconds, Prince Ahanotu, do you have anything to say with regards to the video we just watched?
You can't know my secret until you know my heart for God anyway. I've been a product of grace. So Thanksgiving, I know the value, I know the importance, and it's a secret that have made great kings. Whenever they come into their inner room, they say, God, thank you. They lie down on the floor and roll. And there's nothing that gladdens God than when you appreciate him for what he has done and for what you are expecting. So I'm also thanking God for saving Nigeria and for giving Nigeria a better president like Prince Kennedy Hamilton.
Amen. Thank you very much. And then American writer Hal Boland once said, there is no such thing as bad weather, only different kinds of good weather. So whatever today's conditions may be, being prepared makes all the difference. Let's now turn our attention, viewers, to today's weather forecast to help you plan your day with confidence. Stay with us. Well, thank you very much for that wonderful Bible reading. If you didn't pick anything out there, pick out the fact that God they vex for the wicked every day. God is always angry with the wicked every day. Well, our time is fast spent. We have to call it a day. Let me get your last word to our viewers Prince Ahano to on why they should vote for you as the president. Please make it as brief as 30 seconds.
Well, my fellow Nigerians, let's not see ourselves as enemies to ourselves. Let's see ourselves as Democrats who have interest in national development. If it works for you, it works for me. If it works for Nigeria, it works for every Nigerian citizen. Whoever that is doing well, let's find a way to keep behind him and encourage him to do better. Some of us that are coming in to make contributions don't see it as a war, don't see it as a winners take it all. Rather, see it as young people that are interested in national development and also give us the encouragement and the opportunity. It's not all about attacks on social media. Reason with me, call me, reach out to me, share ideas with me. Let's come together and help our society to become better. It's not only about me. I may be the instrument of salvaging the situation in Nigeria, but eventually if Nigeria is working, it's working for all of us. Have a great week ahead as we look up the development in the political terrain. But I believe that I can make a better president for Nigeria if you give me the opportunity. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you very much, and God bless you. And from here, all of us here at ACNN, we're rooting for you. We want to see you succeed. We want to see a better Nigeria come through the changes a youth like you can bring. We are truly praying that God gives you all the strength, all the enablement, all the protection, all round blessing you need to pursue this dream of yours. And then, Sumto, let me get your last words as brief as 30 seconds.
My last words. I also pray that if eventually Mr. Arnold emerges as president, when he at ACNN invite him for press briefing or clarity, also not turn us down because I'm the president.
Very true.
But in all, get your views. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Somto. I hope you heard that. When you win, hope when we call you for press conference, you will not be too busy to come. In fact, hope your number will be available for us to reach out to. Well, it's typical with a lot of politicians, but then let's give you the benefit of the doubt that you will be different. Many thanks to our viewers. That brings us to the end of today's edition of the program. We sincerely appreciate your time, and of course, we thank our guest once again, Prince Kennedy Ahanotu, and for sharing valuable insights with us. And viewers, as you go about your activities today, remember the words of Martin Luther King Jr., where he said, "The time is always right to do what is right." May we all continue to pursue truth, justice, peace, and love in our homes, in our communities, and in our nation. So, on behalf of the production crew behind the scene, we say thank you for watching. And oh, yes, thank you to our callers for calling in. Your contributions made this conversation worthwhile. I am Promised in Joko Adibi. Have a productive, a peaceful, and a blessed day ahead. God bless you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Bye-bye.